What's up, guys? We're here at AMC Town Square with Chasing Cinema.
Mr. James Hsu.com.
And we're here for Sylvester Stallone and Rambo Last Blood.
Last Blood. Now, is
Part
this
5.
your last blood for Rambo?
This will be my first blood. This is the first time I'm going to actually see a full Rambo movie. I probably have seen, I'm sure I've seen scenes.
Clips, yeah.
Wouldn't know of any of them.
Yeah.
No interest whatsoever, but this is the only movie to watch.
And you've, of course, seen all the references to Rambo. Anytime someone has put a red bandana on and shot bows and arrows, you know, you've seen that cliche in Gremlins and Hot Parts and all these other movies. Rambo, another living legend character brought to you by
Mr. Sylvester Stallone.
Also Rocky Balboa. Unlike Rocky Balboa, though, I was never someone who was deeply concerned with the John Rambo character. I think First Blood, Part 1 and 2, from what I remember, being quite good. I think the first one more particular was kind of more full. Like I watch Rocky and I watch Rambo, and they seem both very similar. Like, they're both very good storytelling movies. They're both movies that are really trying hard to tell the stories of these really complex characters, yeah. And then sequels come, and then while I was working at Hollywood Video, Rambo came out when Sylvester Stallone was kind of like, I'm going to get back into the movie thing, and I missed it, and I never bothered, ended up watching it, and even now, I got all the Rambos in my house, all 4 of them, to prep for this movie, and I didn't get around to them. Just not attached to that character, in the Arnold-Sylvester war, I was rooting
I was always Arnold,
yeah,
Team Arnold.
Me too, except for Demolition Man. Demolition Man was like the exception. But anyway, your first Rambo experience, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun. It's fat. They don't waste time. Yeah. Like, once you start, you're going. There is no filler. There is no wasted time. You're straight up into it, and it's exactly what I expected out of a Rambo film. So I have nothing to compare it to, but that's exactly what I would have thought a Rambo film would have been. Just killing people. Can't kill Sylvester Stallone, and it was brutal and it was violent. This movie was violent. That's all I really had to say. It's a one-time watch for me. It was violent as hell, and it was fun.
Yeah, Home Alone 6 was definitely a really graphic movie, because that's what this was. This was just a Home Alone movie. This is just some guy setting up booby traps. I think for me, this was really I think this is why I never watched the 4th Rambo, just because I feel like it's something we're just going to kind of take a character that's established and just throw him into a mix, because everyone associates Rambo with shooting guns, right? But that's not what makes these characters really special. It's not what makes them characters that we remember for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. But of course, that's what we remember. We remember Rambo shooting the gun. We remember Rambo throwing the knife, and that's what they wanted to do here. And, Sylvester Stallone not really getting much creative control. He's producing and things like that. And of course, Balboa Productions is his, and he's working on these movies. But, he has to kind of let the reins go and know that he's just going to come as they go, and if he decides to take these characters on this journey, that's fine. But for me, it felt like they just needed Rambo to get to a place where he could shoot people, and the rest of the movie was just putted around that. So it feels very empty, and also it's incredibly easy. I don't think John Rambo really ever has trouble when it comes down to it. I mean, there's of course this scene from the trailer where he's surrounded by men on the roof, but everything is quite easy. There's really not many challenges. I mean, he locates everyone very simply. I mean, all the things that happen. I won't get into spoilers or exactly where the movie goes, but I think my trouble with it is that at least just like Rocky, the first Rocky was trying to say something really quite meaningful. And while I still enjoyed the rest of the Rockies, where Rambo's, I've called it, fall off, they take that character, but they lose the morals, they lose the depth to that, and they just, it's like every time you make a sequel, you take a little bit less of that character away. And now you've gotten just this stereotype of what Rambo is, and he's just a guy who could shoot bow and arrows. He's as skilled as Katniss Everdeen. I mean, he's no different in this movie. He's just someone who's talented and doesn't die. Who would win,
Rambo or Katniss?
I would say Rambo, because Katniss seems to at least have somewhat of a... Well, no, she has... Because Rambo has a conscience, but when he is personally touched, all goes. Where it seems like Katniss still doesn't test that, moral stance. But, I mean, John Rambo was a character that was cursed with life. One of the few times we've ever seen a character hate the fact that he was always cursed with life. Like, he always had to stay alive when everyone else died. Very similar to the Rocky series, Sylvester Stallone likes to shoot movies where he's standing over grave sites. It's very, very common. But in this movie, it just feels like some guy, like there's no... I mean, of course, there are those scenes where we'll flash back to war and, like, we're supposed to assume John Rambo's having these PTSD. But in reality, there's one scene where he looks and he thinks about a jungle and, he kind of had... But there's no depth there. It's just telling us, oh, he has PTSD. And that's how. Like, there's no exploring of kind of where he really is. And this whole movie is just kind of like, well, I got to go out doing something. But then, well, I won't get it. But then, obviously, movies are movies. So they don't always go in the way that you think they're going to go. But, I mean, this movie is really A to B. I mean, you're probably in your seat 10 minutes. You know where it's going. But if you're the guy who's waiting to watch Sylvester Stallone put on the bandana and kill some dudes, then this is your movie. But if you're looking with anything of any real depth, it's not here. It's a very forgetful movie.
I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah. Well, you got a kick out of all the...
I did.
Yeah, a lot of blood, a lot of... But see, even that to me, just... There's no thread at the... I mean, the end, of course, the big culmination, a lot in the trailer is all of these guys coming after Rambo, and... They never feels like I never like, and it feels so quick too. It feels like it happened so fast.
It was fast.
Yeah,
that was a
fast.
short movie.
It was easy, like that ending. Like there was no real problems. It was all kind of just.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm okay with everything you're saying. It was just fast, easy, boom, boom.
And then, obviously they say, okay, what's really going on right now in the world? What can we tackle? What can we talk about? What war is going on that Rambo needs to fight? As Mr. Kent Wong was saying, like, Rambo is always involved in these wars. In this movie, it was the cartel and the sex trafficking in Mexico. And what does the movie say about it? It really doesn't say anything. And that's what's a bummer, too. Like, if you're going to really dive into this major problem and you're going to kind of be a movie that is about war and about these serious, real tragedies, I mean, of course, the movie sets up that setting, but it never really says anything about it. It doesn't really kind of make the claim. I think the only really interesting scene is when Rambo has an opportunity to save some people and they don't follow through. And I think that's probably the only time the movie even tries to kind of spread some sort of message or kind of drop some knowledge. And other than that, it's just really shallow. I've seen it before. If you've seen Home Alone, you've seen this movie. It's the same premise. It really is. It's the same thing. It's just bigger guys and more blood.
He's comparing Home Alone to Rambo 5.
It's like Taken and Home Alone had a baby.
Well,
I'll find you and will kill you is even a quote used in this movie. Like, they couldn't even ditch the Taken quote, Out of everything you could come up.
Yeah, I kept on
will
thinking
find you
Taken,
and I will kill you.
I kept on thinking Taken.
Used. And that's kind of a bummer. But, anyway. Yeah. Not a week for me.
What's next week?
Next week, we're starting to get closer to that Oscar bait. We're going to be joining Renee Zellweger. From Chicago, great actress who we don't see as often as I think I would like to, playing Judy Garland in the biopic Judy.
I just watched her in her Netflix series called...
I don't know the Netflix series.
I just watched I binged it, like literally just went through the whole thing. It was alright. Yeah, she's still attractive though.
She's incredible, and I fell in love with her watching Chicago. Have you ever seen Chicago?
You would think I would have. It's a musical.
Yeah.
You would. I
You would love Chicago.
Yeah.
You should really watch Chicago.
Is that on Netflix?
I don't know, but I own it. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, let me borrow that.
But next week, Judy, and then the animated film Abominable, where we have not the one with Smallfoot. That one already came out. This is another Abominable.
This one's where the
Yeti.
Asian girl, right?
Yeah.
Actually finds him. And then she actually physically wants to bring him back to the North Pole or Antarctica or whatever.
Yeah, she's trying to take him back home. And the whole movie is about them getting back. So join us here next week at AMC Town Square for that, 9 p.m.
You're watching the Renee Zellweger.
Oh, Judy Garland. Let me tell you, as a classic movie fan, as a person who loves film, it's hard not to love Judy Garland. Wizard of Oz, obviously, Dorothy. So and obviously this movie's definitely, tending itself for the Oscar run. So, I'm always excited for when that season starts, and it seems like it's starting now. And then, if Judy isn't what's up on your list, if Abominable's not on your list, and you want to take the week off, next week, the following week, October 4th, Joker. Joaquin Phoenix puts on the makeup and takes on one of the most iconic comic book characters, and you need to reserve your tickets because our tickets are going fast. Am I right?
Almost sold out.
Almost sold out. Texas Guy, 702.
348-5618.
Comment below, because if you want to go, you need to get your tickets for Joker, but also join us for next week and get some Oscar buzz going, because everyone likes a good musical.
Yeah. So, and then this one's gonna be a musical.
No, I don't believe this is a musical.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. She's a musician. Look at her. It just looks so beautiful. The posters are behind us.
JasonSinema.com is known as
The Film Lovers website.